Okay, here we are. Well, listen, we have to check homework, don't we? Please unmute your microphones, right? So it was from the section of language revision or not? If I don't
In page 88.
sorry, Juliana?
Page 88.
88. Okay. 88. Sure.
Yes, teacher.
Activity 7 and 8.
You mean the mixed conditionals activities.
Yes.
And didn't I give you on the language revision more activities? I thought I had. So maybe I'm confused with the dates, right? Okay, shall we check? Tell me, exercise 7 and 8?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, shall we start? So in exercise 7, it says, use the prompt to write mixed conditional sentences. Begin with the words in brackets. Then tick the sentences that are true for you. It is cold today, so you came to school by bus. If it wasn't cold today, I wouldn't have come to school by bus. So, number 2, Juliana, can you start?
Yes. You are reading this book because your friend recommended it. I wouldn't be reading the book if my friend hadn't recommended it.
Yes, fine. Right. I think that the mixed conditional is quite natural, right? We use it a lot. I would say that the conditionals that we more use are the mixed one, right? And the third conditional, right? Number 3, Valentina, will you have a go?
Yes. You don't like football, so you didn't watch the game last night. If I liked football, I would have watched the game last night.
That's it. Very good. Number 4, Tatiana.
Yes. You pass all your exams because you're a good student. I wouldn't pass my exams if I hadn't been a good student.
I wouldn't have passed all my exams if I wasn't a good student.
Okay.
All right? Because think about this. Try to translate it. Can you translate it into Spanish?
The original sentences or?
No, what you wanted to say. Imagine you have to translate what you wanted to say.
No hubiera pasado o no hubiese pasado mis exámenes si no fuera una buena estudiante.
Ok. No hubiese pasado los exámenes. No hubiese. All right? So, vos no dijiste el if ahí, Tatiana. Ok, so, no puedes usar el past perfect. I wouldn't have passed all my exams if
I wasn't.
no fuera. If I wasn't a good student. Ahí quedó. When you have a doubt, as it is equal, I mean, it is the same. Oh, Agustina is waiting there. As it is the same in Spanish and in English, the way we use it and think of it, then use translation if you are a bit lost. It will help you.
Okay.
In some structures, in some language points, translation may not help. For example, if we think of the have something done, there is a structure that doesn't have an equivalent in Spanish. So it is, if you think about it and try to translate it, you have to introduce a lot of changes and modify it to fit the Spanish language. But in this case, it's the same, so it can help you, right? Okay. Number 5. Ludmila is there.
Yes.
All right, Ludmila, did you do this?
Yes. You didn't have a big breakfast, so you are hungry now. If you hadn't had a big breakfast, you wouldn't be hungry now.
Angry?
Hungry.
Ah, that's it.
Sorry.
Okay, if you had had a big breakfast, you wouldn't be hungry now.
Okay.
Is that what you have? Because it says, you didn't have a big breakfast. No, no desayunaste bien, no hiciste un buen desayuno. Entonces, ahora tenés hambre. Entonces, pasémoslo al español. A ver, ¿cómo sería en el condicional?
Si hubieses desayunado bien.
Entonces, ahí estamos, Ludmila. Ok, wait. Si hubieses desayunado bien, ahí esa parte necesitas el if con el past perfect en positivo. A ver.
If you had had a big breakfast, you wouldn't be hungry now.
You wouldn't be hungry now. That's it, okay? I think that it will help you, right? If you use translation in this case, all right? You're learning how to drive because your parents paid for some lessons. Let's see, Agustina, are you there? I mean, can you join us with the correction? Do you have the sentences? All right.
Yes. I wouldn't know how to drive if my parents wouldn't have paid me for some lessons.
Okay, Agustina. If my parents, in the if clause, do you use would?
No, sorry.
What do you use in the if clause?
It will be past simple.
Past simple, because take a look. My parents paid for some lessons in the past. So, in the third conditional is past perfect. Si no hubiesen pagado, no si pagaran. Okay? So,
The sentence will be, I wouldn't know how to drive if my parents hadn't paid me for some lessons.
That's it. That's it. Let me see if I can find the conditionals. I want to show you something for you to have a hint on conditional sentences. Wait a second, because hold on. I have to look for the file. I will open it on my computer and then I will show you. Remember the PDF with the conditionals that I uploaded?
Yes.
Let me find it. Wait. Worksheet, conditionals. Oh, where is it? Conditionals and conjunctions. I think it is this one. I'm not sure. Because there was one that was reminder of conditionals and the other was with, wait, because the computer is taking some time. Okay, there I have it. I'll share it with you. Hold on. I want to show you something about... Ay, no me lo tomo. ¿Por qué? Ay. I don't know. Sometimes this Zoom plays tricks on me. Ah, now I got you. And now it's... can you see this? I want to make something, I'm going to use Spanish.
Okay.
¿Se acuerdan ustedes que cuando hablábamos del condicional, hablábamos de que había dos ideas? En una de las ideas es la condición y la otra como una consecuencia, un resultado imaginario, ¿sí? Son dos bloques, dos ideas distintas. ¿Sí? Fíjense, en la condición, ¿qué es lo que aparece? En la condición aparece if o sus variantes. Providing, supposing, unless, ¿ok? En la idea, que yo le llamo esta idea, se llaman proposiciones. En la proposición de la condición, nunca hay un verbo modal. Es decir, en la idea del if, siempre hay un tiempo verbal. Present simple, past simple, past perfect, past present. ¿Se dan cuenta que hay un tiempo verbal? En cambio, en el resultado, ¿sí? En la única que hay un tiempo verbal es en el zero condition. En los demás, will, would have, would. ¿Se dan cuenta? Entonces, cuando ustedes armen un condicional, no importa si es el 1, el 2, el 3 o las dos variantes del mixto. Siempre en la idea del if tiene que haber un tiempo verbal. Y en la idea de ese resultado que yo imagino o que estoy prediciendo, en ese tiene que haber un verbo modal. Y eso no cambia. Así yo lo cambio de lugar. Pues yo digo, puedo decir, you will succeed if you work hard. El if you work hard, el if, ahí lo puse al final. Pero puedo decir, if you work hard, you will succeed. ¿Ok? ¿Se dan cuenta? Entonces, siempre están esos dos bloques. En el bloque del if hay un tiempo verbal. Y en el otro un verbo modal. Excepto en el cero, que son los dos presentes simples. ¿Ok? Eso si lo recuerdan, les va a ayudar cuando están en duda. ¿Ok?
Yes.
They are winners. All right? Well, let's go on with the... okay, sorry, but the dog is it's going crazy. Well, now let's check activity 8. Okay? Yes? Complete the sentences to make them true for you. Then compare with the partner. Okay, let's see what ideas you can come up with. Right? Valentina, will you share yours for the first one?
Okay. If I didn't have a smartphone, I wouldn't chat with my friends.
Oh, well, but that is a second conditional. You have to imagine something with, I mean, it must be a mixed conditional. Something that didn't happen. For example, I'll give you an example. If I didn't have a smartphone, I wouldn't have learned to use a QR. If I didn't have a smartphone, I wouldn't have learned to use the QR. All right? Why did I learn to use how to use a QR? Because I have a smartphone. Okay? Let's see, Juliana, do you have one?
The second one or the first one?
The first one.
Okay. If I didn't have a smartphone, I would have been less social.
But that is, I wouldn't be so sociable. Me están usando el segundo condicional ahí, pero lo ponen en forma de mixto. Tiene que ser algo. Si no tuviera un celular, no podría haber sacado fotos de, no sé, de Disney, cuando fui a Disney, qué sé yo, no sé. Tiene que ser algo con el pasado, no algo que ustedes imaginan que no es. ¿Me entienden? Ustedes hicieron oraciones en second conditional. Porque en realidad ahí lo que vos decías, Juliana, es, si no tuviera un smartphone, no sería tan sociable. No hubiese sido, porque si no ya no lo sos más. ¿Ok? ¿Se entiende? Lo que pasa es que al tener el primer pedacito del condicional, ustedes dejan volar la imaginación y lo acomodan a lo que ustedes quieren decir. Y lo que pasa es que ahí las dos situaciones, tanto la tuya, Juliana, como la de Valentina, serían para el second conditional puro. Ludmila, do you have one?
I think I use the
The
second
same
condition too.
situation?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. What did you write?
Okay, if I didn't have a smartphone, I would have read more.
I would read more. Sí, la pensaron como segundo condicional. Agustina, what about you?
I don't know if it is right, but
Okay,
okay.
okay.
If I didn't have a smartphone, I wouldn't have been so connected with my friends.
I wouldn't be. Because you are.
Yes.
It's not that you were and now you are not anymore. Okay? So, the idea is try to think of this. Let's try with the second, right? If the second is again with, let's say, misunderstandings, you will have to reformulate it for next class, right? Okay, don't worry. So, number 2, if antibiotics hadn't been invented, well, this is easier, I think.
Can I read?
Okay, Agustina.
If antibiotics hadn't been invented, the people wouldn't live so many years.
That's it. There you are thinking about a past action and a consequence that is true in the present. Okay, perhaps because of this mixed type, it is easier to think about the mixed type when it is past in the if and you use the second conditional for the consequence. It's easier than the other one, right? Tatiana, what did you write for the number 2 of the antibiotics?
I put I wouldn't be helped today.
You wouldn't be
Health today.
healthy.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, because health is the idea.
Okay.
Salud. Healthy is the adjective. You need the adjective there. All right. Valentina, what did you write for number 2?
If antibiotics hadn't been invented, all the people would have health.
All the people?
Would have health.
Well, listen, tener salud, it's not something you say in English, okay? You can think of health and you can think that people are healthy. But I would say, you may say many people would die of infections because the antibiotics, what they do is that they kill an infection when you have an infection. They kill the infection, right? Okay, so
Yes.
you may say, if antibiotics hadn't been invented, people would die of infections, right? Yes, it is true. When they had a very serious infection, they died, right? Well, what about number 3? If I had been born in the USA, you would be American. That would be, okay? All right, Tatiana, what do you have for this one?
I put I would have a prom.
You would have what?
A prom.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see, Juliana.
I would talk better in English.
Okay, well, you would speak English directly, right?
Yes.
Valentina?
I put the same of Juliana.
As Juliana?
Yes, as Juliana, sorry.
Okay. And Ludmila?
I would go to the beach every day.
If you lived in Miami.
Yes.
Okay, all right. What about if I could fly? Let's see.
Can I say it?
Okay, Tatiana.
If I could fly, I wouldn't have taken the bus to school.
All right. Okay. Yes. And then another one, Juliana.
If I could fly, I would have been happier.
I would be happier. That is for the second conditional. Okay. What about number 5? If I was a better student, for example, if I was a better student, well, I'm not a student, but imagine I was a student. If I was a better student, I would have won a scholarship. Okay, but I didn't. Let's see, do you have one, Valentina?
No, I didn't do this.
Who has done it?
I
Agustina?
did it, but I put the same as you. The
You
same.
have won a medal, maybe?
I would have had a scholarship.
Do you know what? I don't believe in the system of, let's say, getting averages. You know what? I'll write it on the chat. Some students get scholarships because they have the best average. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see it on the chat?
Yes.
What is the best average? The highest mark, adding up all the marks you have and dividing them into the number of subjects. That is an average, promedio. All right? I don't think it has to do with that. I think that the best student is more than the best average. Sometimes the best average doesn't show the student that is the best. In fact, I have to say that in my classes, generally I consider the best student not the one that has the best average. For me, it's more than that. It's not just being perfect when solving a grammar exercise. It has to do with being able to communicate naturally. For me, that is more important. And in fact, generally, when students tend to try to communicate naturally, they make more mistakes. And I think that the student that communicates, right, and naturally is much better than the one that can do only the exercises of verb tenses correctly. For me, right? Okay. So that's why, for example, I don't agree with giving the students a scholarship, those who have the top marks. I think that there are other things that have to be considered. Not just the final exams, in my opinion. Right? Well, let's see. If my dad had to go, yes, sorry, Agustina, sorry, you have to read your sentence. No, me aparece ahí que el
No, can I say number 6?
Number 6. Okay. Well, go ahead.
If my dad hadn't woken me up this morning, I would wake up late for my class.
I would be, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, I would wake up late for my class.
No, porque ahí, Agustina, me estás diciendo, me levantaría tarde. Me hubiese levantado tarde. So I think it must be something connected to the present. So if my dad hadn't woken me up this morning, I would have been absent to this lesson. Imagine that the lesson was in the morning. Okay, so it
Yes.
much depends on the, it must be a present result, not a past result. Okay. And if my parents were famous actors, who has the who has an answer for this? You have to think about something in the past.
I put I would have seen other famous people.
I would have met. Yes, I would have met better, Tatiana.
Okay.
Okay. If my parents were famous actors, for example, I would have, let's say, I would have participated in some of their films. Okay. Or I would have been popular at school. Now I'm not at school. Okay. Well, listen. Now we're going to work on something different. Okay. We're going to work a little bit on language in focus that is on page 92. It has to do with words, word formation. Can you look for that in your book?
Can you repeat the page?
Yes, 92.
Thank you.
It says language in focus, word families, suffixes. Do you have it there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Well, let's work a little bit on this. That is kind of boring, but we must go over this because I cannot say, let's do the best thing of the book. I mean, we have to cover all the grammar points, right? Do you remember the idea of suffixes? We worked on that. Do you remember what it was? What is a suffix? Who remembers that?
The thing you add to a word, the last part of the word.
Okay, imagine I write this. This is a suffix. Can you see it? On the chat? Aha, full. What word does it indicate when you think of full at the end? Can you give me an example?
Successful. Successful.
Successful, very good. Let me write it, successful. What type of word is that, successful?
An adjective.
An adjective. Can you think of another example?
Beautiful.
Beautiful, all right. Another one?
Wonderful.
Yes? Tatiana, Ludmila, can you think of another one? Valentina?
It could be meaningful. I don't really.
Meaningful, very good. Thinking about language that you give to the students. Meaningful. It's also can you see that all of them are what? They are, as you said, what?
Adjectives.
Adjectives. Yes? But if we get this, take a look, fully. Can you make from these adjectives the Li version?
Successfully.
That's it, very good. And is it we have successfully, for example, or let's take another one, beautifully. Listen, are they adjectives?
No.
No, they are what?
Adverbs.
Adverbs, remember? Because this is what it says, how you do something. She speaks beautifully. They used to say the way she speaks English is beautiful, right? So I say how the action is done. And when you say you have completed the activities successfully. So what about your performance? Was it good or not?
Yes, it's good.
Yes, okay. So the idea is that the suffix, it is a particle that goes at the end of a word, not all of them, right? But at some words, and what modifies is not the meaning, but it modifies what? The type of word. So sometimes the full, right? Well, in fact, full means gives you the idea that it is an adjective. But if you have fully, you know that it is an adverb. Now, if you see this, I say, for example, composition. Okay? Yes? All right? So if you see Xion, what type of word do you think of?
Noun.
A noun. Very good. Right? Okay. Then, for example, there are some, I don't know if you can you see these? Eyes. So I say recognize. Okay, the noise that you have heard is my dog that is complaining. I don't know, she complains about the weather. Okay, she doesn't like heat. She's complaining. Okay. So recognize. What is eyes then? It's for a verb.
A verb.
Can you think of another one? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You say I'm sorry.
Apologize.
Apologize. Remember? Apologize. Yes? Okay, then, for example, in some cases, you can find, instead of eyes with Z, you can find it like this. Right? And it is advertise. What is that? What is to advertise? Any idea?
It's like advertisement. It has to do with that.
I mean, it has to do with publicity. All right. where do you see a lot of advertisements?
In the TV.
On TV and on YouTube, or not? It's full of them. And now on Facebook too. You are watching a video or on Instagram and they interrupt it in the middle and they show you a publicity, or not? It's awful because you cannot skip it, right? Okay. Well, so we're going to concentrate on word formation. Take a look. We go back to the book, all right? It says, words are formed and word families are created by adding different suffixes to the same root word. Root words can be nouns, verbs, or adjectives. The table lists the most common suffixes for each part of the speech. So, for nouns, how can you form nouns? Well, if you add al, ans, ens, si, dom, full, hood, ing, yon, ism, iti, meant, nest, sheep, or y, for example, fluency, you get what? You get a noun. For example, employment, perfection, and sympathy. Now, for nouns, but thinking about nouns as people, all right? And, remember, employee, yes? S, for example, actress, are, young, is, or. For example, employer, employee. Perfectionist, sympathizer. Then, for verbs, et, en, afai, and is, eyes. That depends, the pronunciation depends on the verb, right, on the root. So you have employ. Then, for example, you have perfect, right? Then sympathize. Okay? And then for the adjective, able, evil, all, there are a lot. Ari, et, ordinary, for example. Ed, for amused, for example. And then full, ik, ing, you say something is amazing. Ish, childish, active, less, like careless, like, Lee, us, and take a look at this. I'll write something on the chat. Can you see this suffix? Remember that when you use it, you pronounce it very simply, as. So you say, famous, not famous, okay? Famous, mas, all right? Then you say, yes, curious, curious, as, all right? Yes? Well, so I want you to work on the words that we need here. Take a look at activity number 3. It says, complete the statements using the root words in the box and make any necessary spelling changes. Which statements do you agree with? So you have employ, lead, perfect, point, qualify, strong, sympathy, and terror. The more yawns you get, the more able you become. So let's see, the more
Perfection.
What do you think? The more perfection you get, but it says perfections. Do you think it is perfection? Think about jobs. The more what?
Employ.
Later. The more, because can you say employees? No.
The more points. Point.
The more can you see qualify? So you say, the more qualifications you get, the more employable you become. Okay, do you understand? That is to say, the more things you have done, courses, seminars, and all that, the more, let's say, chances you have to get a job, employable. All right? Think about this. You should never, with violence is always wrong. So we are not using qualify and employ. So you have lead, perfect, point, strong, sympathy, and terror.
You should never sympathize with terrorists.
Yes, that's it. Well, yes, you should never sympathize with terrorists. Violence is always wrong. Then it says, so then cross out terror and sympathy. Then it says, it is less looking for, it is unattainable. What is unattainable? Impossible to get. It is you have, what are your chances?
Pointless.
Pointless, it is pointless, looking for
Perfection.
yes, right? It is pointless looking for perfection. And then there is a need to what is the verb of strong? How do you say fortalecer? Any idea? Strengthen. So we say there is a need to strengthen the political
Leadership.
leadership. Okay,
Yes.
leadership. It is necessary to strengthen the political leadership. All right. Okay. Well, let's do the one that is in number 4. Okay. Do you think you can do it? Shall we do it? Or do you want to do it for homework, as you want? Do you want to work with the dictionary on your own? How do you feel?
It's the same.
Well, let's see, make up your minds, make a decision. Tatiana, Agustina, Ludmila, what do you prefer? Valentina?
It is the same for me.
Me
It's the
too.
same.
It's the same. Well, okay, do it for homework then. All right, so 4, 5, and 6. Okay, What is the best way to do it? If you are not sure, you can think of the word, go to the, remember what dictionary? Word reference. All right, and there you will find the family, okay?
Okay.
All right, so now what I need you to do for next class is, because it will take a long time for us to do it. On page 86, go to page 86. There is 86 and 87, there is a reading comprehension activity. And what is this comprehension activity about? Well, the text on page 87 is incomplete. What is missing? Or what are missing?
Sentences.
There are some sentences that are not there. How do we call this activity? I'll write it on the chat. Gapped text. What is that? Part of the, let's say, of the text has disappeared. Okay, has been removed. And what happens in this type of activity, generally, okay, generally, what we have is they are phrases or sometimes they are complete sentences. They are mixed up and put together, right, all together. And what you have to do is to select them. Hello, hello, Victoria, you're joining
Hi.
us, right?
Sorry for the
No, it's okay because I changed the time, right? I know, but then it is very difficult for us to make it up, right? Because we have lessons on Monday and Wednesday, and then when can we make it up, right? That's why. So,
okay, thank
okay, so we are on page 86 and 87, Victoria. We are thinking about this, we are talking about this activity. There is a text, and we are talking about what gapped text is. Can you see that on the chat? Gapped text, can you see that? Yes? I wrote something.
No, because I have just entered,
Okay.
so
All right,
I can
I'll
see.
write it again. Gapped text. Let's see if you can see it now. Okay. What is a gap text? It is when you remove phrases or sentences from the original text, and as an exercise of reading, you have to insert these parts that have been removed back from into the text. It is. What do you think you need in order to do this exercise? Do you need skimming and scanning? Do you remember skimming and scanning?
Yes, I couldn't hear the first part because sorry, my Wi-Fi is not working so well.
Okay, skimming and scanning, is it necessary for this?
No.
No. What is that we have to concentrate on? What?
Reading.
Reading what? And being what? Concentrated on
The
this
text
course.
structure.
And yes, text structure. So it is important to understand the flow and the connectors and cohesion, that is to say, the logic thread of the let's say, text. That is to say, we need to understand what the text is about, but how the ideas are being explained or developed. I want you to take a look at the first gap. Let's read it, okay? Yes? So it says, go to line number, more or less number 8. Nobody, can you spot that in the introduction? Can you spot it? It's line 8. Nobody in the family questioned why Nicholas, who disappeared in Texas, ended up in Spain. And more surprisingly, nobody questioned the fact that this boy looked nothing like the missing boy. Nicholas was fair-haired and blue-eyed. So, what are the what is the text saying there?
That the boy disappeared, and when she came back, he didn't look like when she go.
There the idea is about what? Physical characteristics or not?
Yes.
Okay. The first gap, okay, so then there is a gap. We don't know what goes on. And then it says, this is the amazing story of the 23-year-old Frederick Burden. All right. So how can I complete this idea that is missing? I have to find on page 86 in the previous page, you have a lot of ideas. Which is the one that fits? Well, in spite of Warden's brown eyes, in fact, he managed to live as Nicholas. Conversely, the boy claiming to be him had dark features. His mother's health prevented her from making the trip. Initially, he was puzzled by the boy's accent. Having seen a photo of Nicholas, so we have to decide which is the one that fits. Now, in the introduction, you cannot have details. In the introduction, you only have general information. So, which is the one that fits this gap, gap number 1? C.
C.
Because it says, conversely, the boy claiming to be him had dark features. How do I know? First, because of contrast. Fair hair, dark features. And secondly, because it is speaking in general about the story, not giving a specific detail. All right? So the idea is that what do you think you have to do in order to make this fit? Well, perhaps what you can do is to read the text and then read the what? The sentences. For me, what it works, some other people read the sentences and then the text. For me, the best way to do it is to read the text. And once I have read all the text, I look at the extracts and I start making them fit. All right? But do not try to do this as you are reading. That is to say, I start reading and I look for gap number 1. No, because first you need to understand the whole text and understand the different phases of the information. That is to say, you need to know what is general, what is specific, what is in sequence, chronological order, etc. If not, you may make a mistake. All right? So, the idea is I wanted to teach you, or in a way to introduce you to this type of exercise. Okay? So, for next class, you have to read this text and insert the gaps. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Well, now, take a look at the first part on page 86. Can you read the instructions, Victoria?
Yes. Where?
Number 1.
Yes. I'm
Look at the ways. The first activity. Can you read the instructions? Page
86.
But where? And I'm in page 86, but I don't know which activity.
Number 1.
The one that said, look at the ways of changing.
Yes, that one. Yes,
Sorry,
instructions. Yes. Don't worry.
Look at the ways of changing one's appearance. Put and thick if they were reversible, and an X if they were irreversible. Which changes wouldn't you consider?
Consider. Okay. So let's think of this. All right, we have different ways of changing our appearance. Bleach or dye your hair? What do you think? Reversible or irreversible?
Reversible because your hair grows.
Or you can even dye it again into a color, right? Change your hairstyle. What do you think? Reversible or irreversible?
Reversible.
That's it. Okay, you let it grow and you have your, let's say, conventional style again, right? It takes some time, but it's possible. Draw a mole or a beauty spot. You know what is a mole? It's lunar.
With makeup?
If you draw it, it's with makeup.
Reversible.
Yes, I mean, you wash it and that's it. Now, go on extreme diet.
It's reversible.
Yes.
You can decide to don't do it.
Okay, or you can start going, I mean, eating a lot and gaining weight. Right, that's easier, right? Then, have a fake or real tattoo. If you have a fake tattoo, it is
Reversible.
But if it is a real one,
Irreversible.
Irreversible. I have one, right? I remember that one day we said we were going to share our tattoos. Now that we are not wearing long sleeves, we can share them, right? Then we'll do it, okay? Have plastic surgery. Is that reversible?
No.
No.
But
I
sometimes,
think so.
yes, but
Yes, but it's painful or not?
Yes.
Yes.
It is reversible, but it's, first of all, very expensive, and apart from that, I don't know, if you change, for example, the shape of your nose, then to put it back the way it was, it must be very difficult, or not? What do you think?
yes.
It is possibly reversible, but it's not likely to happen. Then wear your color contact lenses. Contact lenses.
Reversible.
Yes, I mean, you just remove them, all right? And wear a wig. What is a wig? It's artificial hair, fake hair. that is reversible, right? Which is the only one that you think it is irreversible?
Half plastic surgery
Real
The
tattoo.
tattoo.
and real tattoo.
Well, if we think about that, girls, tattoos are reversible. You can, with laser, you can remove them. Then you have a scar. Then you have a scar. I mean, it's not that it disappears. Would you have a tattoo on your face like Alex Canigia, for example?
No.
How awful. What he has done to his... Imagine your face with something on I mean, forever. Right? He has tattooed a number 18 on his face. Would you tattoo a number on your face? Awful, a number,
No.
imagine. Okay? Well, listen. So the idea is now we know, we have a notion. Why did we do this discussion? What do you think it is the teaching objective of this? That we discussed what it was reversible or irreversible. Why did we discuss this? Think about methodology. Hello. Why do you
I
think?
don't know.
Because perhaps these ideas will appear where?
In the text?
In the text. Okay, so remember the reading that we analyzed and let's say we discussed the way you work with the reading skill in the class. Generally, you anticipate vocabulary by doing this. For example, informally discussing some of the words, some of the vocabulary that later on appears, let's say, in the text. So what happens? When you read these phrases or this new vocabulary, perhaps, then you already know what it means. Okay? So it's like anticipating vocabulary. So now your mind, when you read this, is not going to be completely new to you. Okay? Right? Well, so you will be doing that for next class. And now we're going to talk about what?
The book.
We're going to talk about the book. Now, how did you feel about this? I mean, it becomes interesting by the end of this chapter or not? Because it was, I mean, we had felt that it was really interesting, and then after Bunny was killed, or they pushed him into the ravine, off the ravine, and then, I mean, not much happened until they found the body. How did they find the body?
A girl was walking her dog, and the dog saw it. I think the dog had the arm of, no.
No.
The dog had something in the mouth.
Yes,
I
what
think I
was
read
it?
that.
The ear? Or
No,
something like that.
no.
The glasses.
The glasses.
The glasses.
Bunny's glasses. Remember that Bunny used to wear glasses? Hmm? And in fact, the girl forgot the ball to play. She used to play with the dog, right? With the ball. She threw the ball, and the dog would go and look for the ball and take it to her. And that day when he was walking the dog, she had forgotten the ball. So she picked up what? Sticks. You know what is a stick? Palitos. She picked up some sticks from the floor, from the ground, and she started throwing them. And when she threw one, let's say, fell apparently off the ravine where Bunny was. Okay, and what happened? The dog went to pick up the stick. He didn't find the stick, and he took, because I guess what happened, was Bunny wearing the glasses?
No, because
No, they must
still
have
they
been
must.
somewhere far from his body, or I mean, some meters off his body. And the dog found that. And when the girl saw that he came with glasses, well, that led to the discovery of the body. Okay, sorry about the noise of my cell phone. Okay, tell me more about it. Se lo encontraron por casualidad. They found Bunny. How do you say?
For coincidence. No.
It's easy, by chance. Okay. Were they thinking that, I mean, what did they think? What did the group, right? What did they think? How would they find him? What did they think it was going to happen the night before? Do you remember?
I think they think that they are going to find it because of the weather, because it's raining.
It was raining, yes, because it was raining, and I think it was not so, the rain would melt the snow.
Yes, it's warm.
It's getting warmer. In fact, the fact that there was a snow was out, was like, I would say, surprising for them, right? Because usually there was not snow during those days, okay, those months, let's say, that month, sorry, right? So it was weird, the fact that there was a snow, but the snow covered in a way Bunny's body for some time. But they knew that sooner or later it would rain, or eventually the snow would melt because of the weather, and they would find the body. So that night it had rained. So they thought that, but who would find the body?
The police.
The police.
Or the rescue teams, the rescue parties, remember? Okay, the rescue parties, that would be when people, not only the federals or the police officers, but let's say people who volunteered to find him, okay? Did they join the rescue parties or not?
Yes.
They did.
But they didn't search.
Well, but it was what it was. Why did they do that?
To seem that they care about Bunny.
Okay, right. So eventually, we say eventually. What do I mean by eventually? What is
In
eventually?
some time.
Okay, then later, eventually they found the body, but the body was found by chance. Okay, because this girl went with her dog right to the ravine, and the dog picked up Bunny's glasses. And what happened?
She called the ambulance and the police,
Mm-hmm.
and then the ambulance took Bunny to Hampton, and the group saw him, and all the people start like walking down the stairs of the entrada. I don't know how to
Entrance? Mm-hmm.
entrance, and they start doing questions, and
Making questions?
yes, and the TV was there too, I think.
Mm-hmm. They asked questions about if they knew if Bunny was in drugs and all that. Okay. And they said, in fact, I think it was Henry, the one that didn't want to answer them. He said he had no comments to make and all that. But can't you say anything about your friend? And he refused to answer. Okay. Uh-huh. And then what happened?
They go with the police and say, I don't know how to say it, ask the police some things about Bunny and how they found it, what happened if he, I don't know how to say it, suicidarse, kill himself.
Mm-hmm. If he had killed himself, who was, let's say, in a way, who showed sadness or surprise?
Camila.
Camila. And do you think she was playing a part when she
No,
cried?
I don't think so.
No.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Why did she cry? And remember that one of the officials, one of the FBI officers, tried to comfort her. Why do you think she was crying?
Because of everything, like they know they killed Bunny. I will feel terrible. I don't know.
She had remorse. I think she was crying out of remorse. Okay? Out of remorse, out of guilt. Okay? Or out of regret. That is to say, perhaps she regretted having killed him. Right? Okay, and then were they suspects or not? What do you think? Were they considered potential suspects?
No. No, by the time, no.
Not by this time. But did the FBI agent think it was a suicide?
No.
He said that it wasn't suicide. What do you think about this part of the book where they go to a bar to watch TV? They start watching TV and they see this of the Arabs and this TV program where there is an Arab that is talking to somebody that is an American presenter, and they quarrel. Why do you think it was that? Do you remember reading that?
Yes, but I don't understand that part very well.
Yes, in fact, I think that it was rather weird there, but I think that the author wanted to show that the Arabs, remember that they were like, that somebody said, there was a man, the mechanic said that he had seen Bunny with some Arabs. Do you remember? I think that the writer wanted to create like a connection with the Arabs, right? And the fact that people in America used to think that the Arabs were bad people, that they were all terrorists, and that could be seen on TV. So that's why it was easy to think about Arabs as possible killers of Bunny. Remember that there was this Arab connection with this girl that went to Hampton College and took lessons with Julian. All right, but it was just to show you how the Americans always put the blame on the terrorists, on the Arabs. It's just because of that. It's not because it is really important, but in fact, she's showing how xenophobic and prejudiced the Americans are. That whatever bad things, whatever anything that happens that is bad in America, they blame it on the Arabs. Okay, it's like it's in the American culture that they tend to do this, right? And what else did you learn? What else do you remember reading?
The Asians. Oh. Go on.
Okay. I think in the final part of the chapter, Richard notices that it was shoes, I think, and he thinks that it's not from Bunny because it's very old and it's not like the style of Bunny, and he didn't know why it was there, that shoes.
Okay. Did you notice anything else? Do you remember anything else?
Yes, the agents also said that the weather the day Bunny disappeared was bad, so maybe he just fell. And I noticed that there were more dates, like las fechas and years when the agents were talking and to know the time.
I will read to you, or if you have the book at hand, page 423, the very end. An old shoe was lying on the asphalt in front of the loading dock, where the ambulance had been only minutes before. It wasn't Bunny's shoe. I don't know whose it was or how it got there. It was just an old tennis shoe lying on its side. I don't know why I remember that now, why it made such an impression on me. Okay, so do you think that it was it that this tennis shoe that was there didn't belong to Bunny, but it was there? I mean, sometimes when you do something and you remember details that are not important. Okay, and that remained in his memory. All right. How did he die? Why did he die?
He broke his neck.
Yes, he broke his neck. So he died instantly. Right? Who pushed him? Is it mentioned?
No, but it's possible that was Henry.
Yes, I think it was Henry. In my opinion, it was Henry, the one that pushed him. Okay. there was the FBI agent said that he was sure it was not suicide. Why? What did he see in Bunny's
There
face?
were tierra, earth
There
in
was
their nails.
ground. Yes, there was ground or mud. I think it was mud in his nails. So as he was falling, he tried not to fall. Okay. So in a way, he sort of struggled for his life, but there was nothing he could do, right? And he broke his neck. And imagine, on the impact he had, his glasses flew away. All right, listen, we're going to read for next Wednesday up to page 440. Is that okay? Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. Listen, do you remember that I showed you some idioms related to animals? Didn't you
Yes.
have to invent a sentence or a situation to use one of them? No?
Oh,
No.
Oh, I thought we had to do that. I thought I had asked you to do that. Okay? Well, it doesn't matter, right? Well, I will upload these idioms, okay, for next class, and then we are going to work on some situations. All right? Oh no,
okay.
what happened is I tried to make you work in groups and it didn't work. Remember? That was what happened.
Yes.
Now I remember. Well, listen. In fact, we have 5 minutes more, but Irene is going to start her lesson at 6 o'clock. All right. So I have to stop using the account. Okay.
Okay.
All right. She starts a lesson. Remember that this account is shared with Irene. All right. Okay. So, well, see you on Monday.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Ordinary
bye.
time.
See you, teacher.
All
Goodbye.
right.
Bye.
Bye bye.